Close your eyes and listen. Can you hear that distant jingle winding its way down your childhood street, signaling pure summertime joy? For many, the familiar bell of the ice cream cart meant much more than a cool treat. It was a promise of laughter, sticky fingers, and sunshine on your face. In the 1950s, ice cream carts trundled through neighborhoods like mobile festivals, operated by friendly vendors whose warm greetings were part of the experience. The air seemed sweeter then, filled with the scent of vanilla and fresh-cut grass, and the magic of a nickel buying you a creamy dream on a wooden stick. Lined up with your friends, clutching spare change, you'd deliberate between rocket pops, push-ups, or the comforting swirl of soft serve in a crisp cone. Do you remember the freedom of racing barefoot after that cart, heart pounding, hoping you'd make it in time? Ice cream carts weren't just about the cold dessert, they were woven into the fabric of a joyful American summer. Join us as we revisit those golden streets and see what memories bubble up when the old bell rings once more. Long before the gleaming freezers and playful music we remember from the 1950s, the story of the ice cream cart began in much simpler times. If you can believe it, in the early days of American neighborhoods, ice cream was considered an extravagance, often reserved for the wealthy or special occasions. The journey from rare treat to everyday delight is, in itself, one of those hidden marvels of mid-century American life. And the humble ice cream cart, its chimes, wheels, and enchanting promise, was right at the heart of this transformation. In the late 19th century, before mechanical refrigeration, vendors peddled hand-churned ice cream from horse-drawn carts, insulated with sawdust and hefty blocks of ice harvested in the winter months. By the early 20th century, these vendors, mainly immigrants, pushed heavy wooden carts through bustling city streets, their call of "Ice cream, get your ice cream," echoing on hot summer afternoons. Often these carts offered not just ice cream, but also ices and sherbets made from seasonal fruit juices and mixed in small batches. Imagine the anticipation as children, sometimes barefoot, sometimes in their Sunday best, clustered eagerly around the vendor, a nickel or a penny clutched tightly in hand. Yet it was the remarkable mainstreaming of ice cream after World War II that set the stage for the golden era most of us fondly remember. During wartime, the U.S. military made sure that ice cream was part of the soldiers' morale kit, shipping tons of it overseas. In fact, one surprising fact, the U.S. Army constructed a floating ice cream barge in the Pacific, capable of producing 10 gallons every 7 minutes to serve homesick troops. When those service members returned to civilian life, their appetite for ice cream, quick, convenient, affordable, drove a surge in demand across the country. Suddenly, ice cream wasn't just for special Sunday outings or soda shop splurges. Brands like Good Humor, Popsicle, and Eskimo Pie saw an opportunity and began to expand their fleet of neighborhood carts and trucks. By the early 1950s, brightly painted pushcarts and sometimes even converted tricycles were a familiar sight on suburban corners. Children didn't have to trek to a parlor. The treats came right to them. The tinkling bell or chime became a seasonal soundtrack, as reliable as the chirping of cicadas or the crack of a baseball bat at the park. What sound defined summer for you more than the laughter and shouts following the ice cream cart's signal? It's curious to consider that some of these earliest ice cream sellers walked dozens of miles each day, pushing carts weighed down with dry ice, the real unsung hero behind those half-melted treats of our childhood. Did you know that dry ice, introduced to the wider food industry in the 1930s, allowed ice cream carts to carry their wares longer and further, making it possible to serve treat-hungry kids even on the hottest July day? Cart operators would wrap the precious bricks in newspaper to slow their evaporation, an ingenious trick passed along from vendor to vendor. The design of the classic 1950s ice cream cart was both functional and charming. Most were low to the ground for easy access, with big rubber wheels for navigating uneven sidewalks and grassy parks. The boxes, usually marked with colourful hand-painted logos, were sectioned inside to keep different treats properly frozen and separated. These practical details often gave way to careful personal touches, a rainbow umbrella for shade, or a string of small pennant flags fluttering in the breeze. Some carts even displayed homemade signs announcing new flavours or congratulating the local Little League champs, small gestures that made the neighbourhood cart feel like part of the community, not just a business. Do you remember a vendor who always seemed to know your favourite treat before you even asked? In many towns, ice cream sellers became beloved local personalities, known by name and welcomed like old friends. But that's not all. There's another layer of history tucked inside those frosty boxes. During the 1950s, as returning GIs settled into newly built suburbs, ice cream carts helped to knit these fresh communities together. Block parties, park picnics, and school events often featured a wandering cart, its presence generating instant excitement and camaraderie. The cart was more than a way to deliver dessert. It was a vehicle for connection, gathering point where laughter and stories flowed as freely as fudge sauce. You might be surprised to learn that some early post-war neighborhoods put specific guidelines in place for ice cream days, when carts were invited in and streets closed to traffic for an hour, ensuring every child got their turn. Did your neighborhood have a special ritual for welcoming the cart, or did you rely on your own sharp ears and quick feet to catch it before it moved on? Through all this evolution, the humble ice cream cart reflected deeper changes in American society, growing prosperity, the rise of the car-friendly suburb, and the spread of refrigeration technology. In many ways, the cart's transition, first powered by tired human legs, later by spiffy little motors or bicycles, mirrored the country's own leap into a modern era of convenience and mobility. So, as we look back on those golden summers, it's worth remembering the appearance of the ice cream cart on your block wasn't just a small treat, but part of a much bigger story of invention, community, and transformation. But what really made those 1950s carts so special, apart from the frozen goodness inside, were the innovations and creative flourishes that kept children clamoring and parents reaching for loose change again and again. Next, we'll open those lids and take a closer look at the clever advancements and mouth-watering features that made these carts the highlight of long, lazy afternoons. As we bring our journey through the world of 1950s ice cream carts to a close, it's almost impossible not to smile at the memories stirred up by those cheerful chimes and colourful carts winding their way down familiar, tree-lined streets. We've traced the path from the earliest hand-pushed carts, guided by hard-working vendors before and after World War II, to the golden post-war years when ice cream became an everyday pleasure. The carts weren't just marvels of engineering and enterprise. They were beloved fixtures of neighborhood life, linking families, friends, and strangers with the simple bond of a frozen treat shared on a sun-drenched afternoon. These humble carts proved that joy could arrive with the turn of a wheel and the ring of a bell. Each cart was a time capsule packed with creativity, bright umbrellas, homemade signs, and handwritten menus promising rocket pops, fudgesicles, and creamy cones that somehow always tasted better when eaten outside. The evolution of the cart was marked by clever ingenuity, dry ice keeping things just frozen enough, compartments sorted with care, and local touches that made every vendor feel like part of the community. It was so much more than a business transaction. It was a ritual that brought out the best in young and old. Ice cream wasn't just about flavor, but anticipation, the thrill of hearing the music, the dash to grab spare change, and the shared smiles of friends collected along the route. These moments were woven into the very fabric of our summers. The ice cream cart might have looked simple, To anyone new to the neighborhood, but for those who grew up chasing after that sound, it was part of a larger story about the promise and optimism of the era. The cart carried more than frozen desserts. It carried a spirit of connection and the sense of a safe, welcoming community where everyone could gather, even if just for a moment, and feel at home. How many friendships were sparked in line for lemon ices or forged over shared laughter at a melting cone? How many memories still come alive when you catch that familiar vanilla scent on a warm breeze? In reflecting back, it's clear that those blacktop afternoons, running barefoot and sticky-handed across driveways, shaped more than just our taste buds. They left us with a deep appreciation for the little moments and the simple joys, the ones that turn a regular summer day into something golden. There's a lesson tucked into every fond recollection, that happiness doesn't require extravagance, just the right mix of sunshine, friendly faces, and a well-timed treat. Now, as we look around at a world of instant convenience and seemingly limitless options, the memory of those ice cream carts reminds us of a slower, sweeter way of living, one where delight arrived with a song and a smile. What stands out the most from your own memories? Was it a favorite flavor, a beloved vendor, or the feeling of neighborhood togetherness that made those moments so special for you? We'd love to hear your stories of summertime ice cream adventures. Share your favorite memory in the comments below. Let's keep those golden days alive, one story at a time. If this trip down memory lane made you smile, give this video a like and consider subscribing for more journeys into the best of yesteryear. And if you know someone whose face would light up at the mention of a creamsicle or a rainbow sprinkle cone, please share this video with them as well. Because just like the ice cream cart itself, nostalgia is meant to be shared, spreading joy even decades later, whenever its music calls us back to simpler times.